Hey guys, here we go into round 10, Ward versus Kovalev, in what is being dubbed the rematch. I don't know how many times I gotta say that, shit. But so far it's been a really interesting fight. Although I don't think that Ward has won all of the rounds, that Kovalev hasn't been using his lead hand dominance to control the distance between them. With the lack of him using it, has made the fight much closer than the rounds where he did use it. One of my viewers said that that might be because it takes a lot of energy from Kovalev to use the lead hand dominance, and that could be. And I do want to talk about it at the end of the 12th round. I'm going to give kind of my thoughts on the whole fight overall before I do my breakdown and then a prediction video. And to be honest, I still don't know, how I'm gonna break the fight down. It's been a really interesting fight, but we'll see. We'll see where I go with it. I'm probably gonna have to watch some other Andre Ward fights and another Sergey Kovalev fight or two to see if there are any skills that they can bring that they didn't use in this fight into the fight. But anyway, this was a very hotly disputed round, I guess. To be honest, I don't pay attention to like a lot of boxing politics, and once the fight is over, usually for me, I don't pay any attention to it. Only since I started doing this YouTube stuff have I been looking at any kind of media and commenting on videos and whatever. I usually just lurk, and I don't watch any. Like before, like 3-4 months ago, I didn't watch any media like post fight about this fight. I knew that there were a lot of differing opinions on who won, but I didn't realize that the 10th round was such an integral part of people's opinions about who won and their evidence based on their opinion based on this round, because I guess all three judges gave it to Ward. But anyway, I'm not going to be talking super much about scoring. We'll get a breakdown of how the round is going and what's going on, and but you guys can still decide for yourselves who you thought won the round. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Oh shit, that loud ass shit. Okay. So right off the bat, Ward trying to start some offense. He hasn't spent. I think he did this at the start of the last round too, but he gives him a hand control, a little bit active guard, flashing his jab, right? Gives him a little feint, ducks down, makes Kovalev think that the jab might be coming, but then he starts coming in, right? And he shifts right here. I'm a pretty big fan of that shift, although I think he went too far with it. I'm not exactly sure what his deal is, why he moved that far, because as you notice, he's not really in a position to throw a real punch right there, and Kovalev blocks that one, and he does kind of get caught with the second shot while they're tangling up, but it's really interesting that he moves his legs so far in, and they wind up tangling up and stuff. But anyway, Ward landing one shot, not a super clean left hook, but getting in there while they're off balance. Kovalev not really setting up his shot, right? And Ward trying to counter over the top and getting on top of his head. I'm not sure if he landed a body shot right there or not. Let's take a look, actually. It looks like it was low on his leg. But in my last video, I talked about how, feinting all fight kind of opens up your ability to sometimes not feint and still land shots, right? And that is true, but I'm not the biggest advocate of it anyway. I think that probing and feinting and giving head movement and having an active guard and using all these tools to hide your offense is more important than taking your free shots, or what could be free shots, because in that instance, right, although Ward doesn't actually land the counter, Kovalev opens himself up to it, and you just don't want to give away free punches like that. But anyway, a little bit of wrestling. You know, I think that one being initiated by Ward, or Kovalev. Well, he gets his arm on his head, then he brings it off, but then Kovalev's grabbing him too. So, you know, Kovalev kind of being a little more the culprit in this instance. Tries to catch him with a shot on the way out. Nothing significant really been landed yet. Oh, and I'm not sure. So Ward trying to use lead hand dominance, right? Puts his glove out there. And then I think Kovalev was actually expecting him to do it again, and he catches him with a good jab as Ward's inching forward. I'm not sure why Ward didn't see that punch coming. You know, is there something else that goes on? You know, Kovalev not really using lead hand dominance. Okay, he dips to his right. Maybe he was expecting Kovalev to dip to his right again, you know, and the shot just caught him off guard. Or Kovalev to dip to his left again, and the shot just caught him off guard. But good jab from Kovalev. Interesting. Dipping to his left again. And then I'm not sure exactly if that lands or if he gets in the way of it, but from what we saw in the last round, Kovalev adjusting his game plan instead of going over the top because Ward ducks down so far, starting to come up with an uppercut instead. And I think he caught him with one before. Okay, so that jab actually definitely looks like it lands. If you watch Kovalev's or Ward's head jar a little bit. But I can't really tell if that uppercut lands. But really interesting that Ward is starting to stay close to him now when he starts punching, right? And I think that Kovalev is kind of, you know, maybe Ward is a little emboldened after being able to counter a few of Kovalev's jabs last round. And Ward's feeling a little emboldened now that he's got his timing, and then he can start catching him with shots, you know, catching, countering like he was doing last round. In this instance, you know, I think he's a little too far right here to be throwing a punch, and I think that's the reason why Kovalev gets him. It was just poor distance from Ward in that instance. What kind of jab is this from Mr. Kovalev? That was a real jab. If you notice also, one of the things that Kovalev does on his probing jab is he'll throw it up, and it allows him to kind of hop his body forward. What happens here? So a little bit of active guard, gives him a feint. Ward responds to the feint, thinking a punch is going to come after, right? Good, responsible defense. Catches him with a jab on the way in. Kovalev, what does Kovalev land? Does he throw a punch? Yeah, he throws a jab to the body. I'm not sure if it lands. It probably just slides off. And then he misses that shot, but good job by Ward right there. I actually like that. Catches him with the jab, right? Controls him with the forearm, and then is able to slide out. You know, that's good boxing right there. You know, there isn't really a reason for him to have to hold or to grab or whatever. Wins the micro engagement and gets out. So going to that, again, what I said, the probing jab, right? Up high, leaves it out there, shuffles forward. You know, still can't really get Ward to engage him when he's doing that. Ward definitely doing the right thing. Ooh, shifts forward. Oh no, the camera angle. You can't hear it, but so Ward comes in, feints the right hand. Kovalev jumps back, controls his head a little bit, and then as Ward throws the left hand like he did before when he's been using that little shift when Kovalev doesn't body him up, like at the beginning of the round. Kovalev catches him with the right hand. So I think Kovalev is beginning to read this move a little bit and figure it out now. And if you listen on the sound, that is a huge punch. I'm actually going to play the sound for you on this one. It probably won't do very much good because you don't have a lot of well, there's no comparison. Oh man. But listen to that punch. Huge body shot. And then after, Ward stops coming forward. He stops pressing forward. And I kind of think that he might have hurt him to the body. Ward doing the right thing. right? Goes back to lead hand control. He's like, okay, I got to keep him off me now. And then after using it, taking a step back, right? Not allowing the feints to be any use of Kovalev, starting to do the right thing. Interesting. Feints him. And this is what happens when Kovalev, you know, gets, he puts himself out of position and he allows, once the ring is cut off, he makes the first move and Ward is able to get off the ropes. Again, you want to make Ward make the first move so that he has to respect the feints or the whatever. You don't want to commit to a shot because that's going to allow him to get out of the way. Ooh, really good right here though. So the up jab, right? So he can come forward, and Ward might actually be getting the timing on this, which is really interesting. Catches him with the jab, or with the jab in between, and that might be interesting because so far the best rounds that Kovalev has had, even the close rounds, right, arguably being split, right? If you gave them each half of the close rounds, Kovalev is the only one that's really had any really dominant rounds, and they were predicated off of lead hand dominance, using the probes and using the feints. But if Andre Ward is getting a timing on that probe and he's able to see that that's a probe shot and punch him in between, kind of countering it, he might be able to do a lot of good work, right? And catch him. It also might just open him up for the actual right hand and get him knocked out. But he does a good job in this instance before Kovalev gets back into punching position, catching him with the shot. That might not be the case if Kovalev goes back to throwing the right hand upstairs. And I can't actually tell if this right hand to the body lands or not, but that might really be something that pays dividends for Ward, if he can catch him with shots like that, but also control him after, you know, smother the punches so he doesn't take shots, move in. But if he stays at that range, there might be a good chance that he gets caught, so he might not want to use that particular counter, timing that. But it is really interesting that Ward's starting to pick that up. I think Ward lands a jab right there. Let's see. Feinting, some good feints. Catches him with a jab. And then I'm not sure if Ward's jab to the body lands or not. Yeah, it's not super important, I don't think. But interesting. Probing his jabs. Probing the right hand, and then almost catching him with that cross, right? So he gets Ward to react to the right hand, right? And that's exactly what you want to do, get your opponent out of position. He does it beautifully, and then narrowly misses the follow-up shot. But it's interesting that Ward's being more open to engaging him, right? And not just moving straight back, not just running away. Another probing shot. And Kovalev reads that one wrong. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why Ward is feeling like a little more emboldened. Maybe he thinks that Kovalev at this point, he's too drained to have any power, so he's more comfortable fighting him and engaging with him. But they share jabs right there. Again, neither one of them, you know, setting up their punches, and I'm not sure what the timing on that winds up being. Why they both wind up throwing punches at the same time. But right there, Ward exploding into the body jab. Feint first. Kovalev reads it well and catches him with the jab. And I think he misses that right hand. I listened to it with the sound on, and it doesn't hit him. But again, you know, Kovalev, he showed earlier that he was adjusting to that and was throwing the uppercut instead. You know, I'm not sure why he's not throwing the uppercut there. But Kovalev's offense, you know, starting to come alive again in this round. Some good work here. Feinting, probing jab, closes the distance, and lands a body shot right there. And then throws the left cross. You know, and And I'm not sure why Ward is not just getting on his bicycle after these shots, you know, why he's not getting farther away quicker, why he's not, all of a sudden he's not using his own lead hand dominance to control Kovalev. He doesn't jab him. Very wary of that right hand. He knew it was coming off of that probe, right? He knew it was coming. So he gets both his gloves up to get out of the way. And Kovalev reads it very well right there. Great probe from him with that jab and gets him with that shot. I kind of want to go back and figure out why exactly... Oh, did I miss another exchange? I think I missed this one. Oh, yeah, I missed that one. I was looking at my keyboard. So let's go back to here. And I like this exchange. This is nice. Probing with the right hand, right? And then goes with the jab. And it's really interesting because, you know, that little feint right there, feints him right there. And then in between the feint, Ward knows that he reacted to them, catches him with the body shot again. You know, I really like that Ward is active in between Kovalev's punches and in between Kovalev's feints. You know, showing that he has a great understanding and a great what do you call it? A lot of experience. You know, knowing when these feints and when he reacts to them, and that when there's going to be openings to punch in between. You know, when your opponent is feinting you and trying to set up your punches, it's extremely nerve-wracking, especially when they're as big a puncher as Kovalev. But anyway, then he just kind of, I don't know, lets Kovalev get too close to him. You know, he doesn't control the distance, and without controlling the distance, this is exactly how most fights are going to go against Sergey Kovalev. Like most of his fights wind up going. Now, the ring about to be cut off by Kovalev. He's getting just close enough, right? And you can see as soon as Ward gets on the line that Kovalev is creating, he explodes into a jab and eats one of his own. And you can see that Ward's jab doesn't even really phase Kovalev. I'm not sure if it even lands on the... Fuck, it's too quick. Really quick. But explodes off the line. Yeah, and catches him right on the chin, but doesn't even really affect him. And Kovalev's jab stops him dead in his tracks. Pops down. Really smart after getting hit too. Ducks down, gets away from what could have been a right hand, and then he doesn't fly up right away into another defensive posture, right, or coming back into his guard. You know, he gets a look at Kovalev before he comes up. You know, very defensively responsible. But now at this point, he's kind of telegraphing his shot, you know, and you can kind of see it coming a mile away. That's something that's been that Andre Ward has been doing very consistently throughout the fight. When he's leaning down like that, is coming up with a punch, and you know, Kovalev's kind of got his game for that instance. Interesting. So Kovalev here gives him a little left feint and then starts moving to the right. And if that was a punch right there, that might have been really bad for Andre Ward. But Andre Ward smartly controls his... Oh, it was a punch. It was a punch. So he throws a jab and then smartly controls his head and catches the jab from Kovalev. It still kind of, you know, rocks him a little bit because it's not easy to just catch a punch, you know, especially from a big puncher. But very good exchange from Andre Ward, controlling him after that shot. That's not something we've seen a lot of him do during the course of the fight. So definitely showing some new craft here. Does he land that body shot? Good read on Ward. And that's not easy to do too, jab under your opponent's jab. And that's really interesting, you know, like why does he need to like slide under Kovalev's jab all the time if when he sees it coming, he can just land a body shot, right? Or maybe step to the side after, you know. Just interesting. Doing a good job there though. Oh, beautiful boxing here. Feint. Throws the right hand, and I think that lands. And Ward is throwing a left hook. I'll look back and see if that right hand lands, but and then he gets him with the cross. But feints him, Doesn't expect it. Yeah, I definitely think that lands, and then catches him with the cross. Ward's punch, you know, not landing cleanly if you look at it. You know, it's with the inside of the glove, kind of with the wrist. You know, not a scoring blow, but just like a lot of Mayweather, when Mayweather would throw his like check hooks and stuff, it's so freaking hard for you to see in the moment if you're a judge whether that punch landed or whether it was like a slapping shot like that. So the likelihood that he's going to get credit for landing that shot is very high. Even though, like, going back and looking at it, we can tell that it's not really a scoring blow. And scoring blow or not, it sucks to get whacked in the head with somebody's wrist regardless, especially since there's no padding there. Probably hurt Andre Ward too, but moving on. Oh, an interesting style of feint, the bolo punch, and I think interestingly enough, he gives him a bolo, and then Kovalev gives him a bolo as well. That's funny. Very smart, right, from Andre Ward here. They're standing in front, and he's like, okay, all right, he's coming in just like he did a second ago. So he shows him the left hand, control him a little bit, allows him to take a step back, right? And then as he's crossing this little gap, because he's nearly out of position, the ring is nearly cut off, gets his glove up, right? Showing him the left hand again. And now he after he crosses that spot, he can go back to regular boxing stance. You know, not really a jab from Kovalev. He kind of puts his glove out there to control him. Ward gets under it, and they kind of tie up again. Uh-oh, my video's freezing. And now, like, take a look at this, you guys. Like, are these scoring blows? You know, like, aside from the fact that they're low, these first few, right? And that one looks like it's not low. But are these, like, scoring punches? Like, would you be scared of somebody to punch you like that? You know, is this boxing? I don't know. I don't think any of those punches should be really scored. But this is great. Now, I kind of get the feeling at this point that Ward knows that he's down in this round. Kovalev has landed some good shots. Most of the jabs that Ward has landed in this round have kind of been traded with Kovalev, and he's landed some jabs at the same time. So Ward's kind of trying to press him and stuff. And again, in this instance, he explodes out of his guard without setting up his shot and eats a big right hand. Just look at that. Huge right hand. Boom. And, you know, it's hard to land another shot on him. But as after Kovalev lands that shot, Ward gets his glove up to block another one. But again, feinting most of the rounds and feinting into your shots, you know, he doesn't even really give him a dip or a real feint at all and just explodes into this one. Sometimes it's going to work, you know, you're going to trick your opponent into it. But like I said, no matter how fast you are, no matter how good of an athlete you are, no matter how much like of the trap you've already set by feinting all your jabs up until this point, it's still incredibly risky, because if your opponent catches you with a big shot, he could just drop you, just like in this situation. Even though it doesn't drop him, that's not what I'm saying. But Kovalev landing a great right hand there. And then Ward, you know, staying close to him. Ooh, very sneaky. Right after getting countered with that right hand, Ward's like, okay, I see what he's doing. Gives him a good feint. Kovalev bites on the feint, but Ward doesn't take a step back and kind of catches a jab in the face. You know, that little left cross that Kovalev gives him. Ward trying to, you know, stay close to him. You know, gets under that shot after after Kovalev probes him, right? Gives him the probing jab, leaves his glove out there, controls his chest, tries to keep his head up there so he can land a shot. But Ward, you know, kind of wise to that trick too. He's been hit with it a couple times. So, again, trading jabs, you know, Ward, you know, doing a little bit of a job of feinting this one, you know, gives him that little duck down. But Kovalev has seen it too many times. Remember we talked about it earlier, setting traps for your opponent, right? So you duck down, you show him the jab to the body, and then you do that a couple times, and then you show him the jab to the head. And I said that that's a really low level of setting up your offense because you're not going to get away with it forever. And here he eats a shot, but he lands the jab there, but he eats a counter too, and he's not really able to reap the rewards of that trap anymore because it's already been sprung. So a little bit of offense or evidence of that, but very smart of Andre Ward. Very difficult to hit twice in a row. He ducks down, uses defensive responsibility, and doesn't take a return shot. Another one. Not bad right there. Controls his head, right? Knows that a shot's coming, gets out of the way of that one, gets out of the way of the second shot, So Andre Ward, showing that he understands what Kovalev is going to do when he starts controlling him. But it's interesting that he's not using that information, right? Because he puts his glove out, he knows what Kovalev is going to do, but he doesn't try to counter it, right? He's able to get away from both shots very effectively. And then kind of, gets on top of him and controls his head, which, I'm not the biggest fan of. But, as long as he's not doing it while he's punching, right, I don't have a problem with it. But then, catches him with a body shot on the way out. Not a bad body shot. Probably shouldn't be holding his head down as long as he is if he's going to throw punches. But, that's a fine shot. And then, again, I guess both of them are just, I don't know why. Neither one of them too keen at the moment to set up their punches. They've been fighting for 30 minutes already, so I kind of get it. They're tired. It's not easy to set your punches up or put a lot of effort into them. But right here, Ward does a good job of getting away from some shots. Feint him again. Close the distance. Stay low. Throws a right hand, and I don't think it lands. But again, Kovalev is the one acting first when he's got control of him. He's already got him out of position, and Kovalev lets him off the hook by being the one to act first. Ward tries the bolo shot, and Kovalev's like, nope. Catches him with the shot and slips the other shot. Really rudimentary way to set up your shot, but I don't hate it, even though it doesn't work here. And then he goes right back to it. I don't know why he would do that, but now this is beautiful right here. He gets Ward, shoots that probing jab, close the distance a little bit, not too much, and now Ward is completely out of position, right? He's against the ropes. So what does Kovalev do? He probes him with the right hand, right? Gives him that right hand feint. And then Ward again has to make a decision. He has to respect the right hand because he's out of position. If he gets caught with a huge shot here, he might get knocked out. So when he gets feinted, he ducks down, and that allows Kovalev to land this left hook right here. And it doesn't land in the best spot, kind of on his neck, but or on his shoulder or whatever. But a scoring blow nonetheless. And the technique about it, allowing Ward to make the first mistake rather than exploding into a shot that he knows that Ward has to respect. So, and then again, Ward coming up the same way, right? He's telegraphed this so many times. And, oh shit, he still fucking gets a piece of Kovalev's head. Interesting. And then after landing that shot, controls his head a little bit, which I don't hate. I think that's good. He's out of position, right? Not so much about the swinging right hand right after, but I think that's the least illegal thing that you could do, and I'm actually okay with it on a legal sense as well. So ooh. And at this point, I'm starting to wonder if Ward's just tired, Lets him probe in, control him, and then land a right hand. I'm not really sure. And then again, Ward not moving away, probing jab, lands right to the body right there, controls his head. Uh, this was a great round for Kovalev, I think. I wonder if they'll show any highlights. Let's kind of see. Take a look real quick. Okay, yeah, cool. Let's see what they show. Oh, that might be the one that was at the bell that I thought he landed too. Okay, so he lands the jab. Okay, all right. He lands the jab a little bit. Yeah, narrowly misses that shot. I thought he got him too. Oh, interesting. That's a good good job by Ward. Again, very defensively responsible. But that round was, I think that round was a lot less close than a lot of the other rounds. Kovalev was able to control him with the jab and control the distance, and he did much better in that round. Ward was kind of falling behind, and that allowed Ward wound up putting himself in a little more dangerous situations, trying to catch up on points. But Kovalev utilized distance a lot, and then after he had a lead and was getting some counters in, was able to really push himself over the edge, in my opinion, with the probing and with the feinting and stuff to land some good shots. So really interesting. I wonder if maybe that winds up being part of his strategy for the rest of the fight, is to pray that he comes out ahead in some of the exchanges that Andre Ward initiates, and then after, because Andre Ward's been down and it's in a close fight, Andre Ward knows he has to try and win every round. After being up, in the first minute or minute and a half of the fight, Ward has to come to him and kind of sell out a little bit to land shots, and that allows him to get more punches in. Interesting, really interesting. But I give that round to Kovalev pretty easily. Ward did land a couple good body shots for sure, but Kovalev landed some really great right hands. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments.